Well, one of Iran's top nuclear scientists has been killed in a car bombing in the capital, Tehran. Mustafa Ahmadi Rashan reportedly supervised a department at the Natanz uranium enrichment plant. The authorities have pointed the finger at Israel and the US. The Obama administration is denying any role in the death. Ahmadi Rashan is the fourth atomic scientist to be killed in Iran since 2010. Almost 2 years ago, another physicist linked to the country's nuclear program died in a similar explosion. Tensions between Iran and the West are growing rapidly as the US has already slapped Tehran with more financial and oil sanctions, and the EU plans to follow suit. But Russia urged Europe not to aggravate the situation by following in America's footsteps. Let's talk more now on this with Eric Margolis. He's a war correspondent and columnist who's in Toronto, Canada. Well, the White House says it had absolutely nothing to do with this, Eric, the killing. But Iran is still blaming the US and Israel. Is that a fair accusation?
Well, most people probably think it is because they are the likeliest culprits. Either Israel did the killing or murder, and the United States certainly didn't condemn Israel for doing it, gave its tacit approval. It's a major financial supporter of Israel. But, you know, this is it gives us a sense of deja vu, because back in the 60s, Egypt was trying to develop a series of medium-range missiles with help from German and Austrian scientists. And the Israeli Mossad embarked on a campaign of assassinating them in Egypt and in Europe that was quite successful, killed a number of them, and scared away the rest.
OK, but was it successful? Well, will this particular campaign of assassinating scientists, will this actually affect the country's nuclear program? Clearly, there is an intent to derail it. Will it work?
It may slow things down because of the death of key personnel, but it won't end them because Iran is a big country. It has a large cadre of scientists. It will continue the work. I'm surprised, in fact, that these attacks have not invited Iranian retaliation against the suspects. It is certainly an international crime, violation of international law. And this issue has not been raised at the UN Security Council, which it should be, because it's not only is it illegal, but sending viruses, such as was done to Iran, to the Stuxnet virus, could have sabotaged a major nuclear installation and brought about an explosion or contamination, release of nuclear materials that would have contaminated large areas.
Surprised no retaliation, you say. If there is retaliation, what form could it take? Obviously, we've seen the tensions and the strain of the Hormuz Strait, but retaliation could take another form, couldn't it, after particularly this assassination?
Well, it could be directed against Israeli or American scientific personalities or diplomats in the region. I think the Iranians are just very anxious to get revenge, but they're being cautious now because, as you mentioned, war seems not so far away in the Gulf. American forces are massing, and there are growing threats of war against Iran.
Do you really believe all this rhetoric could lead to conflict, though, Eric?
I do. It's not absolute by any means. The United States is not eager to go to war against Iran, but the U.S. is being, the U.S. government, the Obama administration is being pushed very hard by the U.S. Congress, which is unanimously behind the war, which it will not finance by raising taxes, by the way. The Pentagon, I know from talking to them, is not anxious for war. They're stretched thin, their equipment's old. America doesn't want another war, but on the other hand, America doesn't want to see Iran. Iran is challenging America now. It's almost defying the U.S. to do something, and the U.S. can't be shown up to be a paper dragon.
OK, just briefly, Tehran challenging the U.S., but do you believe that Tehran is trying to develop a nuclear weapon? Just finally.
I've been watching this a long time. I believe Iran is trying to develop its technology to be able to make a nuclear weapon if it has to, but will not go to the stage of actually producing nuclear weapons.
Always good to talk to you, Eric. Eric Margolis, war correspondent and columnist, live there in Toronto in Canada. Thanks for your thoughts.
Pleasure.